Democrats are concluding their impeachment case against former President Donald Trump. They place the blame of the Capitol attack squarely on the former president, despite the arguments, mainly from Republicans who remain unconvinced. Let's go to Nadia Romero, live in Washington, D.C., with the latest.
House impeachment manager's strategy for their final day of arguments is to place the blame squarely on the former president and to talk about his actions during the riot and after the insurrection. They're asking the question, why didn't he do more to stop the rioters?
House impeachment managers finishing their arguments against former President Donald Trump.
This was not a hidden crime.
A day after showing chilling video of the deadly attack on the U.S. Capitol. Prosecutors on their final day explaining why they believe Trump incited the insurrection.
We were invited by the President of the United States!
Their own statements before, during, and after the attack make clear the attack was done for Donald Trump, at his instructions, and to fulfill his wishes.
He intended the events of January 6th to happen. And when it did, he delighted in it.
President Trump declared his conduct totally appropriate.
President Trump's lack of remorse and refusal to take accountability after the attack poses its own unique and continuing danger. I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
Despite the disturbing video evidence presented during the course of this trial, many Republicans remain unswayed and are expected to acquit the former president.
The not guilty vote is growing.
Trump's team will respond to the House's case on Friday.
The tragedy that happened here at the Capitol, lives lost, that had nothing whatsoever to do with President Trump, but they want you to believe that it did.
So Trump's defense team, his lawyers, will begin their arguments tomorrow, but they are not expected to use their full 16 hours, the time allotted. Instead, they could wrap up their arguments by Friday evening. Live from Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
We'll have more coverage on the impeachment proceedings on air and online. Let's get to those latest coronavirus numbers now. The state health department is reporting 95 new cases today, along with 1 new fatality. The breakdown by island shows 3 cases on the Big Island, 20 on Maui, 1 on Molokai, 63 on Oahu, and 8 residents were diagnosed out of state.
And Ashley, I wanted to pull up this article I found on Forbes today, and it's really an article I'm seeing across the country and on a number of media outlets. You know, here on the islands, we're used to the whole testing procedure to get on a flight, but the rest of the country is sort of preparing to do just that everywhere. We're talking about everywhere flying. Here's CBS travel editor Peter Greenberg with more on just that.
So tomorrow, there's going to be a pretty intense meeting at the White House of all the airline CEOs and obviously administration executives to try to figure out if this is going to happen. And if it is, how's it going to be managed? How's it going to be enforced? And of course, the question that always everybody wants to know, who's going to pay for it? My guess is, I understand the reasoning behind it. By the way, I support it. However, I can't see a way for it to be properly managed or enforced. And so watch this space. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. They may not make a decision tomorrow, but just know it's on the table and it's being actively discussed.
Hawaii residents 75 and up can start registering to get vaccinated on CVS's website today. Vaccinations are scheduled to begin tomorrow at 7 Long's drugstores across the state. On Oahu, the locations are Aiea, Honolulu, and Kaneohe, Kapa'a on Kauai, Kahului on Maui, and Hilo on the Big Island. Appointments can be made at CVS.com. We're learning now that many people are skipping their second dose. That's the one that offers the most protection against COVID-19. Lynn Kawano explains why some are skipping the shot.
They forgot, got busy, or didn't want to deal with side effects. Those are some of the reasons given from those missing their second shot.
Preliminary numbers from the health department show 153,000 people in Hawaii have received only 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine since December. Less than a third of that number, 48,500, have completed the process, getting both doses. DOH says there is a delay with some sites reporting their vaccine numbers, but even then it's likely thousands are overdue.
You're only halfway there with the first shot. The first shot gives you about 52 to 55% immunity. That second shot for Moderna and Pfizer gets you well over 90%.
So that first dose, kind of primes your immune system. And what that booster is doing, it's giving that body a prolonged memory against COVID with that second shot.
The time between each dose varies by brand. 21 days if you receive the Pfizer version and 28 if it was Moderna. Medical experts say it can be easy to forget. That's why most sites schedule the follow-up dose when the first is given. Some people choose not to get the second, fearing side effects.
That's a valid concern. And what we've been educating everybody about is side effects are going to be common. And the vast majority of people will have side effects that will resolve within 24 to 72 hours.
Trials have shown there's a 42 to 45 day window in between shots to get that added protection. So if you've missed the deadline, experts say you still have time. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Frontline essential workers are having a tough time getting shots because of a difference of opinion over the term essential. The Department of Health admits the process is perplexing. Once they fill out a form, the DOH identifies who is at most risk and whether or not they qualify for Category 1B.
The list is quite extensive of people that fall into the 1B category. However, they're doing a good job to stratify the overall plan, and it's something that they quickly review best they can. It sometimes takes a few days.
DOH says 1B frontline workers include educators, critical infrastructure workers such as utilities, food production, agriculture, public transit, and those essential for government function. Mainland visitor traffic is inching up, but not everywhere. Howard Dykes takes a look.
Kauai arrivals are just 3% of normal. Oahu is at a third of normal, both about the same as the month before. Same slump, different month. Maui is down 56%, which is less than before. Last month it had been down 63%. Big Island traffic down 64% last month is down 57% now. It's pretty clear many travelers are taking the view that no vacation without vaccination. IAA, an international car and truck auction company, pays $23 million for open land at Campbell Industrial Park. The seller is Island Energy Services, the company that acquired the Chevron operations here 4 years back and doesn't feel it needs the land. Military biz. Virginia-based Utility Works wins $70 million in design-build work on utility infrastructure at naval bases worldwide. 10% of the work to be done here and in the Far East. Texas-based KBR Services wins $38 million in work on fuel handling equipment. Some of that work to be done in Hawaii and some of it in Japan.
State senators will be discussing the West Oahu casino bill today, but it's unlikely that the proposal will go anywhere this legislative session. The idea is already stalled in the House, and Governor Ige also opposes gambling. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands argues that a casino would generate millions of dollars to build more homes. A mobile clinic offers medical services to homeless individuals, but now it's been targeted twice by thieves. Casey Lunn shows us how you can help.
Good afternoon. This is that RV. It's a vital tool for the mission of the Hawaii Home Project. They take this out to folks where they need it. It goes out in the community several times a week, and it was the catalytic converter that was stolen from this vehicle, and it ended up costing them quite a bit. And as you see, we're here in the Fleet Services Department of UH Mano. It's not out doing what it's supposed to do. So let's climb aboard here and talk to Dr. Jill Omori. And I do want to just point out what a catalytic converter looks like. Those are very valuable targets for thieves because of the platinum inside, very expensive metal. Those, of course, reduce air pollutants from the vehicle. But I want to get to the positives. And Dr. Jill Omori with us to talk a little bit about what you use this RV for and why it's a kind of a problem right now as you're trying to serve some of our most vulnerable people.
Yeah, so it's important for us to be able to be mobile because our population can't come to a static clinic. We provide care for acute problems and chronic health problems like diabetes and hypertension. We give out free medications, do wound care, and even facilitate telepsych visits for a lot of our behavioral health patients.
So I do want to just mention that you started a GoFundMe to kind of recoup some of the costs of this. That has already gotten some success, around $6,300, I think, early this morning when we checked it last. You really have had folks rally around what you do.
Yeah, we feel really, really blessed to have so much support from the community to help us with our mission. We get all of our funding through grants and grassroots fundraising, so this has really been a real blessing for us.
And really quickly, I want to talk about that fundraising effort that you guys have coming up on the 31st, something that kind of sounds fun.
Yeah, so it's called Spring Into Action. You can still make a difference at home. It's a virtual event that will be streamed on Facebook and YouTube Live, and we'll have some musical performances, some information about our project, some trivia and prizes, and other interactive things for the audience.
Very cool. Dr. Jill Amori, thank you so much for being with us. Again, you can search on GoFundMe, Hawaii Home Project. It's hawaiihomeproject.org to learn more about that fundraiser and all the amazing work that they do here through the John A. Burns School of Medicine. Reporting at the UH Manoa campus, I'm Casey Lund. Now back to you.
To severe weather coverage now, police say at least 5 people were killed in this massive crash involving 75 to 100 cars on an icy Texas interstate. Fort Worth police say the number of injured is still unknown as they work to investigate the accident. The pileup happened as a winter storm is dropping freezing rain, sleet, and snow across parts of the U.S. mainland. Now elsewhere, ice storm warnings are in effect from Arkansas to Kentucky. Japan's Olympic chief is expected to step down over remarks he made about women. NBC's Matt Bradley has much more.
Well, as if the 2020 Tokyo Olympics didn't have enough problems, the first one, of course, being that they never occurred in 2020, and they still are kind of on the ropes when it comes to 2021. Now we're hearing that Yoshiro Mori, he's the president of the organizing committee of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, he has had to resign over sexist comments that caused quite a bit of controversy. Now, what did he say? He said that if we increase the number of female board members, we have to make sure their speaking time is restricted somewhat. They have difficulty finishing, which is annoying. Now, obviously, this incited quite a bit of controversy. It's unclear exactly what's going to be happening next. It seems as though the Olympics are still trying to happen, not on time, but a year later. It's up to COVID, really, to see whether that actually follows through. Matt Bradley, NBC News, London.
If you can double up on masks, do it. That's the recommendation by the CDC, which says double masking significantly reduces the spread of COVID. Billy V shows us what that looks like.
Researchers found that wearing one mask blocked about 40% of the particles in the air when you breathe. 2 masks block about 80% of the particles. And let's say there are 2 people in a room who are both double masking. Scientists say more than 95% of the particles were blocked. So here's how you do it correctly. So, surgical mask, right? You got this? Put this one on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the cloth mask on top of that one, okay? But let's say you cannot double mask. In that case, you need to focus on the fit. So, let's kind of go over this again. If you have a surgical mask like this one, what you do is you pinch the nose area up here, make sure it's on the top, okay? And then you make sure there are no gaps on the sides. Here's another tip for a surgical mask. There's a technique called nodding and tucking. For that, take a look here. You tie the 2 strands of ear loops together, and then you fold and flatten the extra fabric at the edge so they fit tightly. Okay, so once again, there you go for double masking.
The coronavirus variant first found in the UK is set to become the world's most dominant strain. It is spreading very quickly here in the US. CBS News correspondent Ian Lee has more developing details.
We're doing the COVID testing.
UK authorities are scrambling to stay on top of COVID-19 variants as they sweep the UK.
Everyone's scared stiff they're going to get it, especially at our age.
One strain in particular, first discovered here in Britain, has now been detected in at least 34 states.
The numbers are doubling every 10 days of that, and by mid-March to late March, it'll be everywhere.
More than 50 countries have reported the new variant,
which is so much more contagious. And as soon as I knew it was here and it was starting to take off, I started changing some of my practices.
Dr. Jha says he now wears not 1, but 2 masks in certain settings, which is the latest advice from the Centers for Disease Control.
The 2 mask situation is really for high-risk things. So if you're going to be in a grocery store for any extended period of time, if you're going to be indoors with a lot of people.
UK researchers say the variant that started in Britain will soon be the dominant strain worldwide. Health experts believe current vaccines will work against it.
It's going to be that slow waltz with the virus and the vaccine development, trying to keep up ahead of what nature is throwing at us, actually.
They hope genetic mapping will help keep vaccines one step ahead of the virus. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
We want to take you live now to Waikiki. Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi is holding a press conference with the Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association about a new public health awareness campaign. Let's listen in.
Yeah, we have Mufi Hanneman right here.
Good afternoon, everyone, and aloha. Welcome to Waikiki. This is a wonderful opportunity today to unveil a major COVID-19 public health awareness campaign. This campaign came together as a result of 3 organizations who live, work, and play in Waikiki, we think, full-time, almost. And that is the Waikiki Business Improvement District Association, led by Jen Nakayama, the Waikiki Improvement Association, led by Rick Eggett, and the Hawaii Lodging Tourism Association, led by our chair, Cheryl Williams, and our vice chair, Tom Fody. So we're here today to announce this unveiling. The 3 organizations that I talked about earlier got together, and we felt we wanted to do more to remind visitors and residents of the need to observe the 3 W's. Wear your mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. For me personally, this is going to be great because as I do my daily stroll to Waikiki, I'm reminding people verbally. Now all I'm going to do is say, hey, look what the banners say. Look what those banners say. And there's 36 of them lined up from the convention center through Kalakaua Avenue. I want to thank Mayor Blangiardi and the City and County of Honolulu for their collaborative partnership to make sure that we are able to get this done. And of course, our council chair, Tommy Waters, whose district encompasses these lovely 2 square miles here in Waikiki. We could not have done it without their help and support. It was started by Mayor Caldwell, and thanks to Mayor Blangiardi, we've completed it. So our speaker lineup today will go as follows. We will hear first from our mayor. Secondly, our council chair, Tommy Waters. Thirdly, Jen Nakayama. Fourth, Rick Eggett. And last but not least, we are here purposely because of the presence of the Honolulu Police Department. We know in order for us to have a safe place for our residents, our visitors, our workers, we need the strong support of the Honolulu Police Department. And we're very pleased to have Deputy Chief John McCarthy here to represent them. So without further ado, the gentleman who has hit the ground running, he's here today to reaffirm his support to making sure we can come through this pandemic. And now as we pivot to economic recovery, please put your hands together for our mayor, Mayor Rick Blangiardi.
Good afternoon and aloha, and thank you, Mufi. Thank you very much. You heard there's a whole lot of speakers going to come up here, so I'll be very brief with my comments, but I have to acknowledge the tremendous teamwork and vision and commitment to making this happen that took place. So Mufi's already acknowledged the various parties, including our police department. But I just want to say on behalf of the residents of Oahu, Waikiki is such an important jewel in the composition of our city. And so these banners are for not only tourists, but also for our residents to remind people of the basics as we fight each and every day to get back to a place of normalcy. But Waikiki is just so very special. So this was a great opportunity for us, the city, to collaborate. We're very grateful for the partnership that took place. And we really want to commend all the people in making this happen. This is one of the most efficient things we've been able to do, and it's so appropriate. So I thank you all for being here today, and I especially want to acknowledge Chief McCarthy and our police department for all the great work they're doing. Thank you. Aloha.
That's Mayor Rick Blangiardi speaking there at a press event. Let's switch gears here just a little bit, take you outside. There is Aloha Tower. We got Guy Hoggy now with a check of your forecast.
How's it on this Thursday? We're saying bye-bye to that cold front. There's another cold front coming in, but we won't say hello to that until sometime next week. Until then, we've got the best weather on the planet. Not a whole lot of rain, aside from some showers for the Big Island's windward spots. And those trade winds will run a little slower today, about 10 to 15 miles an hour, except, of course, for the Kona side of the Big Island, they will not have the trade winds. So today is going to be a beautiful beach day. Trade winds running 10 to 15 miles an hour, warm temperatures, lots of sunshine, perhaps a few windward showers, and there are no marine alerts yet. However, a big swell is on the way by tomorrow night. High surf warnings will likely be posted going into the weekend. But for today, with the light trade winds and that dropping swell, fun-sized surf for north and west shores. Not a whole lot happening in town at 1 to 3. So we've got a nice stretch of trade wind weather, best weather on the planet through Saturday. And then we lose the trade winds on Sunday, and that will build up the fog and the haze going into next week. And again, get ready for some rain starting Tuesday into Thursday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Pop star Britney Spears is battling to have her father removed from controlling her finances and health care. Chris Martinez has much more.
Britney Spears wants to take back control of all aspects of her life. The 39-year-old pop star's father, Jamie, has controlled her finances and health care since 2008. That's when a judge granted Jamie Spears a legal conservatorship after his daughter went through an apparent mental health crisis.
A conservatorship is the same thing as a guardianship. It usually happens for people who are ill physically or mentally, or they're older. And the court appoints someone to take charge of that person's affairs.
Britney talked about her pressures in a 2008 documentary.
If I wasn't under the restraints that I'm under right now, like if that wasn't there, I'd feel so liberated and feel like myself.
Jamie Spears temporarily stepped down from the conservatorship in 2019 because of health issues, prompting a temporary personal conservator to step in. The singer recently said she prefers that arrangement.
What she's really saying is, I like this county-appointed trustee, but I don't want my father telling me if I can have a cup of coffee or not.
The court proceedings and a recent New York Times documentary have shined the spotlight on Britney Spears' legal battle. Fans from around the world are rallying around the pop star with the hashtag Free Britney movement.
Main goal of Free Britney is to give Britney Spears back the power that she should have based on, basic human rights.
CBS News reached out to Jamie Spears, but he declined to comment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And everyone all over the feeds are talking about this story for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the documentary, you saw it.
Yep.
I just checked TMZ and all the other entertainment sources. No updates from what's going on inside that hearing just yet, but we expect that any moment now. I'm sure we'll be writing up a story for our H&N digital platforms as well to get that update. But fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
I learned so much about that part of the law.
Same, and I feel like I know a lot about her, and there were a lot of things I didn't know, and I wonder how the documentary is gonna, if it will impact the hearing.
Oh, I think it definitely public perception and just seeing everything that's happened in this pop star's life put together in that way. It was fascinating to me. It shocked me. I really didn't think I was going to like it, and I did.
Yeah,
so.
Makes you feel for her for sure.
Let's end on something sort of humorous.
Yes, so it's Valentine's Day on Sunday, you guys, and Hooters is inviting you to shred your ex again. So you simply destroy a photo of your ex and you get 10 free boneless wings when you buy any 10 wings. Now, participating U.S. locations will have shredders on hand, but you can also do it online. So this is how it works. The chain's website will ask you some questions about the relationship, and based on your answers, it recommends the method of destroying your ex's photo. Once you're done, you'll get a digital coupon for Valentine's Day. Last year's record, 49,000 photos of exes were destroyed.
Oh man, that's vicious. You guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. Look for those pictures of those exes. We'll see you tomorrow.